Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Plebcast. This week, we're going to discuss, or rather, in this episode, we're going to discuss the LEC playoffs with guest of honor DutchSource on my right. Yeah, it's my right. Yeah, it's in the white rectangle. In the white
Somewhere there.
rectangle.
You're somewhere there.
Mr. Dutch,
On
please
the
give
screen.
an introduction, please.
Hello, I'm DutchSource. I used to cast, not so much anymore. I'm a avid LEC watcher. I love LEC. I've been to the show twice. And I'm here to give my 5 head thoughts, I think. So yeah, I'm hyped.
Nice.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to another honorary pleb. And joining us, as always, co-host of the show, Miles David, above me, and Slayer in above Dutch. He's above Dutch. In his beautiful
I'm a
red
bit more of a
rectangle.
caster than Dutch right now. Just a bit more of a caster.
We have two casters, one analyst, and as always, a baker.
Yeah.
And speaking of baking, and no, this
We haven't still gotten our bread yet, Vash. We still haven't gotten our bread yet.
you will never have any bread, and you will suffer by watching my beautiful pictures of bread, which you can find also on my Twitter, which is linked below my name. Shilling.
Alrighty, man. My goodness.
Oh man, I have to chill. But let's get into the thick of it. And as we said, like the objective of this episode is to analyze a bit what is going on in Europe, LEC, summer playoffs, who's gonna go to Worlds. We're gonna take a look at first at what the results were for the season. We had very tense standings up until the end. Like the playoff spots were decided on the last day. It was really competitive split. We can see later if for good or for ill. Are all teams good? Are all teams bad? It's kind of a mixed bag. I see Dutch is already reacting with a smirk, so he already has an opinion.
I mean, two of them aren't. One of them maybe. Three of them, okay.
Yeah, but so we say goodbye to Australis, Excel, Schalke, and SK Gaming. Schalke especially, which is gonna leave us.
Tried, but the deficit was too big.
Yeah, Australis did try. Excel did try as well, but instead, above them, just barely, it was Team Vitality to make the cut with 8 wins. At 5th place, we had Fnatic at 11 wins, 7 losses. Then we had tied at 12 and 6, G2, Mad Lions, Misfits, and Misfits, sorry, and Rogue in first place with only 1 win above the others on 13 wins. And due to the LEC system, we had accumulation of championship points from spring to summer, which determined the seeding of the top 6 teams, which made so that we're gonna have Rogue, Mad Lions, G2, Misfits, Fnatic, and Vitality in this order, which is what then formed what the seeding is for the playoffs, which is gonna see in the winners bracket Rogue versus Misfits, then Mad versus G2, in the losers bracket needing to climb up all the way through Fnatic and Vitality. Basically, what you need to know, the winner of Rogue Misfit and Mad G2 guaranteed a spot to Worlds, depending then on how the other games go. And then the third team that's going to go to Worlds is going to be decided by whoever manages to climb up the losers bracket up to the semifinals. So now that we gave a short introduction, I think we can start talking about the low losers bracket teams, Fnatic and Vitality. I reckon we can start from Vitality, a team that people have some doubts in, a team that of strong egos. Like everyone in the offseason recognized, oh, it's the L9 meme. They're gonna have self-made. They're gonna have leader, and Crownshot is also there. And we've seen described by many people this team actually, like as I said, a team of very strong egos, players with very strong individuality. Like the community was not secure, secure on how they would play, especially with SLT, a rogue rookie newly promoted from their B team, literally B team, considering it's Vitality B.
It's called Vitality B. Yeah.
And then bringing back Sigenda towards the end of the split for a more stable roster. So, Dutch, give us your thoughts on this team, on this L9 Vitality.
Well, know, man. I think they have a hard matchup in Fnatic, and I think we'll go deeper into why that is hard later on. But basically, what I think is that Vitality is a skill check team, right? They need to win those lanes. They need to get ahead early on. They don't really, besides Selfmade, have a structured plan. I almost feel like to play around because it's kind of coin flip if bot or top wins. Lighter has not been playing out of his mind so far, and has not been really finding success on a lot of champions. We saw him play Lucian a lot, not really working out either. So I think they're gonna have a very, very hard time coming into these playoffs.
Okay. So, well, to be honest, I want to echo Dutch's points, and at the same time, Leader to me has been so coin flip that I it's like at the start of the split he was playing well when he was getting the Viegos. Like the overpowered Viegos which is 100% from minions. Yeah, that no longer exists. Um he's really bad at laning now, unless he can trade. So Leader has gone to a situation where he's playing some of the champions to get lane dominance, but then gets shitstormed by mid laners like Humanoid, Cavs. They're just shitstomping him at this point. I'm like, okay, sure, that's happening. And with that, see, if Leader can get ahead, the team somehow falls into this whole like, okay, what are we doing? What is this? Okay, self-made. Take that hat and pull a rabbit out of it. That's what we do. Or count shot, carry us somehow. Somehow. I mean, they had to swap SLT for Sirenda. I can't spell that name. I don't know why, but they swapped him because SLT was losing top lane constantly in an LEC region that doesn't have the best of the best top laners, and he's losing. And so it's kind of like a mixed bag where like either self-made carries or Leader gets ahead somehow, or um or you have to rely on contra. Take it away, Miles.
Yeah, I think what it is, you've got a bunch of people who are, I don't know, can you consider them solo queue stars?
Oh,
So
they
to
are.
Yeah,
speak?
Leader
Solo
is
queue
complete.
stars,
definitely.
and it's
Yeah.
not just it's just not translating as well into the LEC. Of course, they did manage to get the playoffs, which of course that's definitely a lot more successful than a lot of the other teams below them, which we can give them credit for. But people kind of expected a lot more from this team, especially for someone like Selfmade, who was probably one of the best junglers in Europe
Yep.
last year. Wait, last year
Last year.
or last
Last
year,
year.
2019 too.
It was last year, not this year.
Yeah. Not
Last year,
last year, not
definitely.
this year. Last year, when Fnatic were firing on all cylinders in spring, but like you kind of expect more than what you got from this team, especially from the
Yes.
surrounding hype it got. So it kind of can be considered a failure unless they manage to turn it around, which is kind of hard because like who are you gonna give resources to? Lighter needs the resources, Crownshot needs the resources, Selfmade needs the resources. You've got three people who need resources on the team. So like we've seen super teams before, like not like the G2, like say something like OMG back when Uzi was joining the team back in 2015, where it just didn't work out. All right. So
Okay,
that's what I
that
got.
was interesting.
Yeah,
Have
yeah, all right. We
the
had
motorcycle
yeah.
outside.
Is
I'm
that
sorry.
the death knell
No,
for
it's
your
fine.
vitality? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's
That's
just
the
Yeah,
vitality.
it's gone.
It's
I
the
mean-
motorcycle. It's ran away.
it's like what you're saying, right? There's three resources, and the thing is, well, so especially with someone as a jungler, you need something to set him up right. Which I think why you work
Exactly.
well with Niski and with Nemesis as well, who are able to try and push the lane without overextending, without trying to 1v1 and win that. Like there's no risk in that mid lane where Lighter wants to take risks and snowball
Yes.
off of that.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately he tries to do that in the LEC.
Yeah.
I mean, interestingly, we've seen Niski in NA, where he was in Cloud9 and Blabber was completely stomping people with Niski's support because
Yep.
Niski is a jungler's mid laner. He's he's going to roam. He's going to help out your jungler.
hmm
This split is a bit different because Niski has completely Niski has elevated from what he is or what he's known for, but
Yeah, he put on his
like
carry pants.
he
Yeah,
really did.
big
time.
And now self-made in a situation where Leader needs resources, Crownshot needs resources, and and there's the fire in top lane,
Mhm.
like that he has to take an extinguisher and put out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
In-
dangerous. It's a bad situation.
In defense
Uh,
of top lane,
Defense top
like
lane.
nobody can pay attention to Sigenda. Like that's just no option. Like you need to go mid,
Yeah.
you need to go bot. It's just
Yeah.
it's just how it is.
And
I mean, it was the same for SLT too because
Yeah.
they bought in they bought in SLT because SLT was more of a carry type player, if I'm not wrong. He was more of that carry type player, and they couldn't allocate resources to him because there's two other places to allocate resources to. So you bring in Shigenda, and now he's stuck on the island.
yeah, and this reflects also on the champions he played, right? Like,
Exactly.
Sigenda has played mostly Renekton, otherwise it was the set, rarely the Aatrox, one game on the Lulu and then on the Gwen. So also because like we can see a bit from the stats, this is a kind of interesting to compound your point, how of the top 6 teams, Sigenda is the top laner that got the least percentage of resources of all top laners in all teams. Like 19.2% of the gold, the total gold of the team, which is even less than what Selfmade got. And it also reflects in the extremely low damage numbers that he has. It's like 18% of the total team damage is from the top lane.
Mhm.
So yeah, we see here then a team that has 2 carries that are very hit or miss. Like I think we
Yeah.
can all agree. Like both leader and crown shot are very hit and miss. You can sometimes play around around Selfmade. We've seen several games where he was on the Xin Zhao together with the Lulu to augment him, or on the Rumble. But still, yeah, it's a team that doesn't feel like it has too much cohesion. That has the
Yeah.
raw talent, but can't really elevate themselves over a certain standard.
Yeah.
An hypothetical
It's like,
I have an hypothetical question.
yeah, go ahead.
Hypothetical question to to explore this, and through the answer to this question, maybe expand the discussion, which is, do you think that maybe bringing a veteran top laner like Soas would be the prototype top laner for this case, but a Cabochard or someone with more experience, or even someone on the Odoamne style could have worked for this team and helped them improve?
Listen, guys.
I
Yeah,
don't
Miles?
Chachi is looking for a
entirely-
team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just
I-
saying.
Chachi.
Chachi.
Chachi would have worked
Yeah,
so well.
I don't entirely
Come on, Dutch.
agree with. I don't think it'll entirely happen
Hmm.
because I think the problem here is that because the current Vitality team has 3 points of resource, 3 people that need resources: Selfmade himself, Litter, and Crownshaw. The only way I see this team elevating is a change in either jungle or one of the mid lane or bot lane. Because you
agree.
need to eliminate or change one place where you need to give the resources.
Yeah,
2 places of resources is fine.
That's the optimal.
3 is too much.
For
3 is
me.
too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3
me, that's
is
optimal.
too much. It's like, and one of the 3 is the jungler himself.
Yeah.
Like that's the main problem. Like I use an example. We saw Damwon last year,
Mhm.
right? Damwon had a lot of points of resources, but all of them, except for bot lane, was individually good at their own right. They were going to create the resources themselves. Canyon was free to do whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah, when Noguri didn't in the top lane too hard. Let's be real, Noguri did have those
I mean,
moments.
even then, Canyon made his way there, but Canyon was allowed to do whatever he wanted at his own pace.
Mm.
Like if Vitality was like that, like they had Leader who was the best mid laner, and Crown Shot who was one of the top ADCs, and they completely had the lane under control by themselves, then you make a point for that. But that's not the case for Vitality. Like that's the main problem.
So the problem is that they don't have the best top and mid lane in the world. That's basically what we're at right now, right? That's maybe that would fix it.
No, I'm just
Hell
saying,
yeah.
Somebody
Get
put
what I'm-
Xiao there. We're
Yeah, get Zhao.
Oh, they're good. No, I'm just
Please.
my point is that they don't have laners that are self-sustaining or
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
reasonable, like really good laning phases where they can hold their own.
Yeah.
Leader hasn't showed that at all.
I mean,
Leader's gotten solo killing lanes. Leader's gotten solo killed.
yeah, fair, but then again, like it's I'm gonna like break a like I don't know like defend leader a slight bit by saying
Oh no.
no, just one thing. Okay, he gets stomped in lane, but then again, of the 16 games total, 18 games total that he has played, 13 of them were on melee champs. It's kind of hard to go even and stay relevant in lane against with only melee champions. Like,
I mean, to be fair, this is the melee mid. This is the melee mid meta.
not for EU. This we can talk later, but EU really has seen a very
EU is
few
different.
amount of
EU is different
yeah.
because EU has a philosophy of its own. We can touch on that later, but they have a new their philosophy of their own.
Well, I guess we have talked about enough about Vitality. We've seen that they have their strengths. If it clicks, if it doesn't, it's a
I mean,
shambles.
it's just a role mismatch, right? If I
Yeah.
want to add a bit more about Vitality, I'm
Mhm.
not just talking about League of Legends role like mid top,
Okay.
mid top stuff like that. I'm talking about like who's the star, who's gonna be the supports, right?
Exactly.
Of course, because like if you have if you have three resource hungry players, you know, there's not enough resources in the map to sustain them. Either
Yep.
you get rid of one of them, change it, and with the less resource heavy style, as Slayer Slayer said, you get rid of because you can have one coin flip player. You're permitted to have one coin flip player on the team. But the rest has to be
three of
reliable.
them in that team. There's three of them.
Yeah.
The rest has to be reliable to semi-reliable. Okay, to make things work.
I mean, to be honest, we're going to be talking.
You
about
can't have Jackie Love in every lane. Okay.
No, we're going to
Oh,
talk about
God.
Fnatic in a bit. We're going to talk about Fnatic in a bit, and they
Yeah.
have conflict players too, except
Yeah.
probably I'd argue Niski.
Yeah, and upset like that would be the transition.
Upset.
The transition
And
is the coin flip. The coin flip masters, the team that is ahead until they aren't. The masters of the throw, the masters of the European throw, and as I say, Dutch's pain is just augmented.
I
the
just get
masters of the
PTSD from the
European
Mystics, man.
coin.
Oh,
The
God.
masters of the European coin.
Yeah, of the
Man.
Bitcoin. They are the European Bitcoin because some days up, some days down. They're up and down, up and down. Yeah, of course we're talking about Fnatic, the team that even though they shed like they shed the two players that seemingly were holding them together in a semi-coherent way, which is Nemesis and Reckless, the calm players, and they got two replacements, which, in my opinion, like since they have showed up for this team, like since spring, they have been excellent. Like Niski has demonstrated he has grown a lot in his C9 year in his C9 split, and he's I think right now one of the top mid laners in Europe. He's extremely stable. He's extremely reliable. And on the other, and then you have in the bot lane what I think is probably the best AD carry in Europe at the moment. I think Upset is the most consistent, the most reliable carry you can have, and he has the right amount of aggression to match the style of his team. Which is kind of a shame because sometimes with a team that has Bwipo and Hylissang on it still, it can backfire, let's put it this way. And then we have Adam, which I think Adam has been an interesting like case for a new top laner, for a rookie top laner, because we've seen SLT in Vitality come in, struggle, and be unable to gather resources. And then we have Adam, which has this really weird champion pool in the top lane, really loves his bruises,
and
his
he's
all
coin
up.
flippy.
And
He's coin flippy.
And he's coin flippy, so really, they just got Weepolite on the on the top lane.
Whippolite.
That's it. You got the resource vortex that is Vitality, and you have the coin flip that is Fnatic.
So if he's Whippolite, so let's say in like a year or two, we're gonna see Adam in the jungle.
Oh god, and then Weepo too. I don't know, mid lane. Weepo to mid lane. It's inevitable. It's going down the list.
Listen, no. Whippo to ADC with Hylissang. Just send it bot lane, man. Just send it in the bot lane.
No.
I mean, to be honest, Whippo has not played that bad as a jungler.
Oh no.
He's played better than most of us thought he would.
Yeah.
Like he's like Yamato was right when he said Whippo has the mind of a jungler.
Yeah.
Or I don't know who said it, but Whippo has the mind of a jungler. I'm like, okay, mind of a jungler. Let's see how that works. Well, he does, kind of.
Before the swap happened, I thought personally I thought immediately Buipo is a great fit for a jungler. Like you see him on his streams every time there's a when you hear him talking game, when you saw him on the LEC streams, he's extremely knowledgeable and smart
Knowledgeable.
and cerebral as a player. Sometimes I don't know. I guess a vein pops and he
Sometimes
just
junglers
ton
tweet
of
that.
visions and just says,
Yeah.
Yeah.
"We kill, we go in." But he's extremely cerebral. And
Maybe,
Dutch, just
yeah, maybe it's just a Hillsang mentality. Hillsang just
I don't know.
gives it to everyone.
I don't know, but so Dutch, what's your opinion on Buipo, the switch, and how how it works for the team, and how the team works around this jungle system, this jungle support system?
Well, actually, like I think what we talked about Vitality is that Cellmate has a very difficult job. Is the exact opposite as what for Fnatic is working, right? You have a fairly stable, strong side bottom lane if you want it that way. You have a one of the best mid laners in Niski, and then Adam sometimes just kind of pops off. And we saw last time where he was kind of getting camped. I think when he was playing Mordekaiser, and he still works out, right? He doesn't till he doesn't run it down like Pipo, dare I say, sometimes did when that happened to him. So I think he has the easiest job in the world. And we saw, I think, in the later half of the season, it did fall down a little bit where Fnatic in general just were like, hey, we can kind of win, just let's just try it out. And then oftentimes it didn't work out. But if they just, notch it back just a little bit, I think they have a very, very good, stable, like a 5-man squad.
Okay.
Do you think
Okay.
that Dutch? Do you think that if they gave Fnatic more time to stew in the pot, do you think they'd come out as a better team? Maybe
Yes.
maybe not summer this year. Maybe they don't bomb out of playoffs, but maybe they get fourth or something in after the end of the split. But maybe in spring, maybe they become pub. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if it keeps gelling like it's gelling now, it's a very, very good team. And I think
Yep.
the one time I saw it was, I think, the first or second game against G2, where Pipo and Adam just dove between the towers. That was like the best team fighting I've seen in a long time. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Slayer, talking about Adam and what do you think is his role in the team? How do you see him
So,
fit in? What's your opinion on this player?
so my thing is that since Fnatic has played this split, their main points of focus has been stable bot lane which can handle themselves. And Niski, who's emerged as like this carry mid laner that we never thought he'd be. So when Adam came in, we thought, maybe they'll focus more on top because we never saw Niski do this. We didn't think Niski would do this. We didn't think Upset and Hillsang would work this well. We didn't think Buipo would be as good of a jungler as he is right now because his pathing still needs a lot of work, but everything else he has, like, it's everything in his head. He knows he can control tempo. He knows how to work that in. He can play around the team. That works. Adam right now is in the situation where he's stuck between the middle of, do I carry or do I just be
Stable rock.
be the other guy,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like at times, as Dutch mentioned, Adam pops off, right? Adam just pops off, and Fnatic like supports Adam, and they kind of snowball in that respect. However, there are these games where Adam looks bad, and Adam's laning phase, in my opinion, is a concern, especially if he's gonna play, like, for example, he's gonna play Vitality, so it's not gonna be a problem against Vitality. But you play Misfits. Here it is not that bad of a laner. Here it is pretty good. Then if you at one point, if you go down the gauntlet, you'll play Rogue, you'll play Mad, right? You'll play these players and you'll play Odo or Armut or Wonder. You're coming up to these players that they will punish you if you make a mistake. Or rather, the junglers will come and punish you if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because you forget Yankos exists, Inspired exists, Elyoya exists.
Razork.
So
Yeah.
Razork exists. So it's like Fnatic has, like, Adam has to understand that, yeah, I'm gonna have to be the safe guy
Mhm.
because my team can work everything else out.
Yeah, I feel like it's a similar discussion that we had when we talked about EDG, the role that
Yeah.
Flandre has in that team, where you have an extremely hard
that's a-
carry of
That's a really
bot
good
lane.
comparison. That's a really good comparison, actually.
Yeah, maybe EDG is a bit
No,
more
no,
calm
no,
of a team
it's
compared to
EDG plus TES.
Fnatic.
It's EDG plus TES
I mean,
combined.
I don't know.
TES is so coin flippy. Come on.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, of course, but yeah, I don't know. Well,
It's like you take the coin flippy players
it's
from
a
TES.
different. It's
and
a
you
yeah,
put
but
it
you,
in
you
EDG
you
player.
really can't
Listen to
say
yourself,
upset
player.
is. You can't
Listen
really
to
say
yourself,
upset
player.
is coin flippy. Upset is so reliable.
Yeah, but
Wait,
that makes up for Hillside.
We're comparing Niski to Knight. We're living in this world, okay?
No, okay, we're not. Okay, no.
We're not doing that.
Okay,
We're not doing
okay.
that.
There's only
We're
one
not doing
point of
that.
comparison. They both played Silas the most split. That's it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all there is to it.
There we go, guys.
And
Niski
both of
is
them
Knight
balled
pretty
out on it.
much.
Both of them balled out on it.
Yeah.
Both
I mean,
of them started stopping people.
let's just say this: Niski has a 3.1 KDA on Silas. Knight has a 14.8 KDA on Silas. On 10 more
Detail.
games, so just
Just a little, just a little.
let's not. Okay, so so the coin flip. This is probably the how do we quantify how do we actually try and describe the coin flip to say, okay, this is the point of weakness for Fnatic? Like, Dutch, how would you describe the coin flip? This mystical entity.
I mean, it's kind of weighted, but it gets worse the longer the game goes on. I feel like it's like almost like Rogue, but less to a less big extent, where it's like fully weighted the other side. But yeah, I think the longer the game goes on, and especially if they're ahead, they just try and make 2v4s, 2v3s that just don't work out when they could just wait. Like you're saying, just have upset in the team fights, and instead it's just Repo and Adam trying to make a play that
Something.
it's not necessary, right? That's the issue. And I think like I said before, if we notch that down a little bit, then you have a very, very good team. The thing is, like on the other side, do you really want to lose that kind of like playmaking,
can't.
decision making? Yeah, exactly.
They can't do it. They can't do it. They can't give it up because that's what makes them this good. Because it's actually worked against G2 quite a bit because G2 doesn't expect them to do this.
Yeah.
Whereas teams like Mad is like, we're prepared for this. We know you're gonna
play in
do
the
it.
mud with you. Mad will play in the mud with you.
Oh yeah,
No
for sure.
matter
Mad will
what
play in the
else.
mud with you. Mad will come at you. Misfits know you're going to do it. They're going to be like, okay, you're going to do it. Let's see. Vitality will even match it if they can. Vitality will even try to. The only teams that don't face it as well is Rogue and G2 because they're thinking in a different perspective. Like they can't possibly be doing this right now. Oh no, they are.
What is the optimal play here?
Oh
Okay,
shit.
what's
Okay.
No, the G2's case is a bit different because G2 understands when they have to do what. But
Yeah.
Rogue is like, this is not the optimal play. Oh no, Fnatic doesn't care about optimality. What? Fnatic doesn't care. Fnatic does whatever they want.
And so with the explanation, the scientific definition of the coin flip that we have reached. So prediction for this losers bracket match, I'm gonna say 3-1 Fnatic. I think Fnatic managed to flip the
Fnatic
coin
3-0.
one.
Fnatic 3-0.
Dutch?
I got 3-1 as well. It's just a skill check. Both of these teams want a skill check, and Fnatic just wins the skill check.
Yeah. Miles?
I agree with Slayer. 3-0 Fnatic.
I do
Ooh.
not expect Vitality to have anything because it's like, if leader doesn't show up like really big, and Niski somehow starts stomping him, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Well,
If Niski decides he wants the game by himself.
jokes on you, Bwipo and Adam. Adam and Needle Sang are gonna decide to engage, I don't know, a 3v5 to get third
Yeah,
Drake and
exactly.
lose
That's
the
why I got
game.
3-1. Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
gonna it is what it is. Let's move on to the winners bracket portion of our playoffs, and let's talk about the second match, which is Mad Lions against G2.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going
spicy
deep
one.
into the
spicy
oof.
one.
The
The
real
spicy one.
yeah, it is the spicy one, isn't it? So
Yeah.
the Lions come back from Reykjavik. They play in MSI. I I think for an EU team, for how EU was in spring, they had a decent enough showing.
Respectable showing.
It was respectable, yeah.
Really respectable.
Considering the tier of teams that were there,
I mean, they
except
pushed down 1
C9.
to 5 games. They pushed down 1 to 5 games. That's respectable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on record and say that I thought that Damwon at the end of spring was kind of bad, but it was still a decent result for an European team at an international event.
I mean, it's still damn wide, you can't take it away from them.
Damwon.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah,
Damwon.
fair. But Ghost and Barrel were
Even
running.
though Ghost and Barrel were running,
was,
yeah,
oh
they
my
were-
god, Barrel was running it down like a. It's time for the Olympics. He would have won the 100-meter sprint. It's like, I don't know.
Yep.
Broke the world record. I have no
Hey,
idea.
now that Ash is back in the meta, maybe damn one starts the stock
Oh,
starts
yeah.
going up, right? Okay, but anyway.
No. Anyway,
back to the-
Mad Lions.
Damwon is playing better as of late. Damwon is
So-
playing better as of late.
Mad Lions started the split like in the situation where they were all split due to COVID, the impossibility to practice all together, having to play each from
8
their own
days of
homes.
quarantine.
Yeah,
28
the
days of
quarantine as
quarantine.
well, which I think it's agreed right now that it kind of harmed what the team wanted to do. Their prep coming into the regular
Yeah.
split, much like what happened to RNG in China,
Yeah.
but like much like what happened with RNG in China, they still managed to have a strong finish and qualify for playoffs, secure a good position in the winners bracket, and do so, I think, mostly on the back of Humanoid. Humanoid has
Yes.
been the standout performer for me on Mad Lions, like
I mean, the LEC
especially
period.
like
LEC period.
yeah, in general, he has been. I don't know. I still have Niski in very high regards for what he's able to do with players that are coin flip. Let's put it diplomatically.
Mhm.
While I feel like Humanoid has a more stable squad playing around him, especially in the support. Like Kaiser is still probably the best support in EU.
Yes.
Is Leona is fantastic. Despite Cars is still having those moments, those high and lows. But like even like in the mid laners that are playing right now in the play that will be playing in the playoffs, he has the highest damage share on the team.
On
Like
the team. Yeah.
he puts out so much damage. And on a strew of different picks. He had the Akali games, the Orianas, the Silases, the TFs. So on a very wide champion pool, and you can never put him down, discount him. He will always do good. I think he is the rock of the team. Do you agree, Dutch?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you were saying, you haven't even mentioned Armwood, which I think will be the biggest weakness of Matt going forward. And then you were saying the bot lane sometimes high, sometimes low. It's easy as well because I think Humanoid has Kaiser in his back pocket, has Eliolia in his back pocket, and that makes it a whole lot easier. But he has been playing well. They should be playing around him. One thing I think is, and I could be wrong about that, but I think his champion pool is fairly limited to those control mages.
Yeah.
But it makes so he skills fairly well. So in that sense, you always have a good team fighting composition, and that's what I think Matt needs to focus on around as well, because that's basically every time they win, it's through team fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt's team fighting is probably the best I've seen in LEC. It's the best. They like you see these team fights and you're like, they're not supposed to win this, yet they do.
Yeah.
They somehow
Yeah.
win team fights out of nowhere. And I remember, I don't remember who it was against. I think it was against Misfits or something. Humanoid was playing TF, right? And Armor was probably playing Nar. They were juggling CC, right? They were juggling CC, right? It was nothing, and they kept every like the carry points in full lockdown until they could kill him. It's like they have this idea in their head. They're like, we know how to team fight. We can layer it off. They have excellent communication in team fights. They know what to do in that. They set it up really well. And it's like everything other than probably, I would say, in Dutch's point, which is laning, in their laning phases, everything post laning is like they just know how to do it. They know how to set up objectives. They know how to set up team fights. They know who to target. They know who's their point of focus. Like they pretty much know all of that. Even Armut, with dying so much, he somehow comes in and makes an impact, right? And in Armut's defense, recently in the last few games, last 2 weeks, he's played really well. He stepped it up. Like, and he's talked about it. He's talked about himself that the quarantine kind of burned him out because he was MSI, then quarantine, playing in quarantine. He didn't have any break, so he just stopped playing solo queue for a while. And the last 2 weeks, he said he started playing again because he's like, yeah, and he's like, we're getting back in the groove. We're playing together again. It's the Mad team in total. They didn't have any consistency. It's like
That's
it's
getting
like
hit by
saying
the
TL
Matrix.
wasn't good. It's like saying TL wasn't good when they didn't have the players. Go on.
Matt?
That's getting hit by the Matrix.
What?
Me?
Huh?
Sorry, you're kind of getting blurred on my side. Do you guys still see him?
No, it's fine. Like here on the
Okay.
register yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Miles, do you have
All right.
any
Sorry,
thoughts
I
on
got
this team?
distracted. I got
No, it's
distracted by
it's
the
the
video camera.
blur.
Blur.
Anyway,
But yeah, I mean, if Mad always is a team that always plays to their strengths, right? Just team fighting, as you said, and that kind of instinctual team fighting is not. It's something that's really hard to teach new
Yes.
players,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yes.
you can't simulate what's happening in a team fight all around. You can't simulate the conditions that are happening in a game. Like sure, like for example in CS, you can simulate an aim duel with like or do aim trainers or something like that. You need to work on something specific, but in League, team fighting is just something you have to be instinctively good at. Otherwise, it just doesn't work out. You can always get better at laning through practice.
Yeah.
Team fighting, you just can't practice.
Yeah.
It's not possible to make the
Yeah.
conditions happen.
Matt pulls out impossible team fights. They sometimes just do impossible team fights. It's like there's no way they're winning this. I'm like, Armor did what damage? Or Humanoid did what damage? Look, where did he go? Like I remember the Armor Jace game, like where he just completely popped off. Like don't give him Jace. Oh, they picked Jace. This is not gonna be good. Armor just completely like annihilated one of them with one combo. I'm like, how did they do that? It's like Matt does those things and it's just unbelievable at times.
Yeah. But like to the Ying must come the Yang. As we said, like they are a really good micro
Yeah.
team. I feel sometimes like their movement around the map sometimes is a bit questionable. And as Dutch said, like if we go into the nitty gritty of it, Armut, especially in the early game, he hasn't been
Is
performing too exceptionally well. Like of the 6 top laners we have left in the playoffs, he has probably the worst statistical like the worst stats for when it comes to pre 15 minutes. So he's behind in CS, he's lower in experience on minions, which does come to impact later, especially if you're gonna go for these picks that he likes to go, like except for the I would say arguably, except for the Wukong, which is mainly a bruiser champ. Champions that he has played the most are the Jace with five games played. Then he has the Gwen, Nocturne, but Nocturne is not really a pick anymore due to the Threadbreaker nerfs, sadly, and the Camille. So being behind in the early game on these champions that need the resources, need to scale up to get the damage to be relevant, I think it's gonna be quite a hassle. And this included with their not always optimal macro, let's put it this way, can be something that hurts them. But Dutch, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They have some rough skirmishes, I feel like, in the early game, especially as well, playing for those objectives when it isn't the 5 stack or it isn't the CC members being there. And at that point, you kind of have to question they're against G2. You know, G2 will take full advantage of that for sure. And I think Fnatic will, and I think even Vitality will. So, like, it's hard, man. I have a friend who's a big Met fan. He's a little bit salty. He thinks they won't do far. They won't go far. I think they will do a little bit better. But like I think Slayer said, they are focusing on their strengths and they should be doing that for the rest of the playoffs as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think people are discounting the fact that at the start Mad looked bad,
Yeah.
and even then Mad was winning, and now Mad has started to look better with every week, and they're still winning, except for G2. Except against G2, they've won against everyone else. Like like 2 weeks ago, they beat Rogue quite handily. Rogue didn't know what to do. Like Rogue was like, we're in control, we're in control. All of a sudden, Rogue lost control. Like Matt was like putting the vision in objectives.
They're traumatized by Mad at this point. I'm
Huh?
telling you, they're
What?
traumatized by Mad at this point.
Yeah, but like they're putting up like they're putting wards and objectives. They're sneaking in. They're putting it. They're taking these windows that you like. It's only a team like Matt can do because they understand. Okay, we're strong right now. We can fight.
Yeah. But
Like
that,
we're gonna do it. It doesn't matter.
yeah, it does boil down again to fighting and skirmishes.
Yeah.
What's your view on this team, Miles? What do you think
Mad
of? Yeah.
probably have technically one of the highest skill ceilings in the LEC,
Mm-hmm.
and in my opinion, it's just that there are other areas that they're just not good on. But they're just fully focused on team fighting. That's their basically they're just a sword pointed 1 point forward.
The thing is, Matt is never out of the game until they say they're out.
That's
Then-
true
then-
also because of team
then-
fighting strength.
then-
That's basically
Yeah.
the case every
Yeah,
single time.
because they will try to claw out of anything.
Well,
I mean, you saw it against Rogue. I still think that Rogue gave away more than that Matt took it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Matt just stays stable and then tries to get their way back in
And
any
it's
way
the
they can.
story of every
it's
Mad
like-
versus Rogue.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can come back to Game 5 of the Spring Finals.
No,
where
no.
Rogue shouldn't have won.
We don't have to.
No.
Rogue shouldn't have won. Well, Matt shouldn't have won. But even then, the fact that that one fight Victor still survived is just amazing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's not go back there. It's a painful place. Let's not go back.
It
there.
was.
And-
For Rogue, Dr. Russ. Sorry.
It's funny to think, like, behold this transition. It's funny to think that we used to think of G2 as the team that you could never discount them. You could never, like, the
Yeah.
G2 of old with perks and caps. You could never say, okay, they're out of the game, because you knew there was, I don't know, the comeback win against Suning at Worlds last year. Just they're gonna find the angle. They're gonna find the spot, the magic spot where the stars align and they just team fight like monsters beyond their, like, macro game. And I don't know. I look at G2, this split. I know they
They're not
finished
the
in
same.
playoffs. I know they're in the top 4. I know they only need one win to get Worlds again, but I don't get the same magic, man. Since
No, they-
Perks left, I don't get the same magic.
So-
I get,
yeah.
like, we've seen them struggle heavily at the
Yeah.
beginning of summer. Watch them, like, slowly ease into the split into a better form, but we have a team that is playing, like, I don't know. It's a
It's not
style that
exciting anymore. Yeah.
it's
It's not exciting anymore.
No, it's not.
No.
And you have these moments in which Caps has the pop off. Wunder has been put on champions that can be, like, more agency, like the Viego. He has playing the Mundo even, which has been beast on just to protect the Caps and Reckless and be a nuisance. Yankos, which has resorted to, he has gone back to his way of just early game junglers. Like, his most played champions this split is Lee Sin, immediately followed by the Xinjiao, champions that can affect the early game very,
Yeah.
very importantly. He had good performances on the Viego. And then you have Reckless, which I still don't feel like he's the right fit for this team. Like, his stats are insane.
Yeah,
Really
that-
good
that is-
damage, really good KDA. He plays Tristana, but he doesn't. He feels like Reckless always did, which is too conservative for this team. What do you think, Dutch? What do you think of this team? Now that Magic is gone.
In G2 right now, everyone is both the weak link and the strong link at the same time. It's so insane.
Oh, I
God,
love
it's
that.
true.
I love that. That's
It's-
amazing.
It's true.
It's so insane. I
Oh.
don't know. Sometimes it's just Wonder thinks like, I need WoW at 5. Let's just get this over with. And then it's like, well, I don't have anything better to do, so I might as well just bleed out for the rest of the game. It's so insane. I don't know, like, what happened to this team. And I think I don't want to contribute it to Reckless, because I think the issue is that you now have two kind of strong players in Caps and Wunder, but they're also not playing around it, right? Like, not at all. They're not giving Wunder the right amount of resources. I think it was Matt against G2, where it was Jace against Gangplank, where, like, he just pushes in and gets solo killed. Like, how does that happen? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's crazy, man.
It's
That
a
team
disaster.
is just,
No.
it's just I don't want to say coin flip because I don't feel it's coin flip. It's just like I don't know what it is. I can't even quantify it. It's just sometimes they feel like they want to win, and then other times they're just like, well, we'll see what happens.
I mean, my problem with this is that Wonder, I think, has regressed. He hasn't realized this yet, but he has regressed.
Oh, trust me, Nelson must have told him.
No, no,
Do you really think
no.
Nelson didn't
Shout out
bring
to
out the
Nelson, by
belt?
the way.
I mean,
Shout out to Nelson.
I mean, Nelson probably told him, but it's like Wonder's not the same player as before, and a lot of the top players in the playoffs can take advantage of him,
Yeah.
and they will take advantage of him. He's not that caliber of a player anymore, like he was back in 2018, 2019. He was like top of the LEC, best top laner. Can you say that now? Not really.
His
Huh?
laning his early laning is still good. Like his early
I mean,
laning
yeah.
is still good, and he does still a ton of damage for the team. But
Yeah.
it's not it's not the reliable beast he was.
I don't know about you guys, but it feels to me like Wonder just isn't inspired as a player anymore.
Yeah.
Of course, he's not inspired.
he
He's
lost his-
Wunder. Inspired as a
He's
jungler. I'll see myself
oh my
out.
God.
All right, get out of here, host.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
We can finally continue producing quality content. Let's go.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's go.
There we go.
Anyway,
Okay, so
go Miles.
Yeah, like,
Wait, Miles.
But yeah,
Finish
I
your
was just saying, like, it feels like, I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to be a league pro anymore. It's kind of speculation on my
What?
part. But
okay. Okay, Mario.
how do I put it? I left lost in my thought after Bash.
It's fine. Miles just saw him
I
like
probably
climbing the
should put
arena
it-
in Classic.
I should put it in a kinder way to Wonder, since he does deserve that after the legacy that he's had in the LEC after all. But I don't know, it feels just like the fire isn't there for Wonder anymore.
Mm.
Whenever I watch him on G2, like either he needs to start it up again, or I don't know. Because if I look at G2, probably he's the most replaceable person on the team right now.
Yep.
With all due respect, because he's been a really good top laner for the longest time in his career.
Yeah.
But right
no,
now,
for sure.
I'm just not feeling it from him.
So
Maybe he can bring it back. I mean, it's possible, of course.
Playoffs
that he
G2, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy.
He's still a G2 player, but
last year G2 wasn't playoffs G2. Last year.
Yeah, that's true.
They went playoffs G2. So my thing with G2 is, and which I'm concerned with, is two things. One, top lane, and the other one is the passiveness of their bot lane. I'm slightly concerned with it because often they're too passive in the bot lane.
Well,
I
they-
wonder why.
No, I actually
Anyway.
do want to add to that. They have been fixing that in the last couple of weeks, especially with the Kalista.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a very good
Yeah.
show. So
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the Kalista will be neutralized because Ashe is back in the meta. Ashe is back. Like it's like you pick Ashe into Kalista doesn't come close to you.
true.
Unless you're a Viper against WX, and then you laugh like a
I mean,
maniac and win the lane
it's
anyway.
a different story.
Have like
Whatever.
a maniac and win the lane anyway. Yeah, but like I said, like I think their passiveness in the
Mhm.
bot lane may be a problem against someone like a Fnatic or even Mad if they decide they want to be aggressive.
Yeah.
If they decide, that's the if. But you have these bot lanes that are okay with being aggressive. Even Rogue's bot lane to an extent
Yeah,
is
and
aggressive.
Sam and Kimby, they're pretty
They're
aggressive.
aggressive. They will push your buttons. And the thing was that when G2 was struggling halfway, like at the first half of the split, it was like Caps wasn't playing very well. Caps is picked up.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you have that kind of a slump again,
It's
you're
still-
in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. Like Mad will probably, if Caps is a slumping as human Caps might be picked apart.
Mm.
It's like if he has a slump and it's Caps, we don't expect him to have one. So yeah.
Basically, G2 are a good team, but we expect more from them, which is why we're
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't
My-
know. Go. No,
My
go.
note was basically is play around the person that isn't a dog that day. I think that is the whole idea. And then I want to add Slayer's point is that they just don't play around bots. So if both Wonder and Caps are kind of like, well, I'm not feeling it, then what's your game plan?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
doomed.
That's,
Yeah, because
Get to 40
they're gonna be
minutes,
facing
and then
Mad.
possibly Reckless will carry.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing against Mad, right?
Yeah.
Against Mad, they're gonna place a lot of pressure in the mid
Also,
lane.
yeah.
Humanoid's not gonna leave it off. Humanoid is an extremely good laner. He will not leave it off.
Yeah.
And even Elyoya will go top lane. He will go top lane. He will give resources to target.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And it's like, and it's you're in like the interesting bit is we don't know where what G2 is showing up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, just to compound your point about the passiveness of the bot lane, like pretty much every single support around the world has like Leona Nautilus as their most played. There's two supports that I've seen like deviate from this so far. One is Zhuo, which is protecting Jackie which is hyper aggressive, and the other is
John
Miki.
needs to.
And
John
Miki,
needs it.
and then you have Miki, who has been playing Thresh and Braum, Thresh, Braum, Rakan, the Gragas with the Kalista. So really, really, really defensive champions. So you can see it just in their drafting, like how they really have this tendency to stay conservative. And this is something that might bite him in the ass, especially because, like, going more specifically into the matchup, Karzi and Kaiser are still a very aggressive bot lane. And
Yes.
Karzi and Kaiser are gonna try and get the push so that Kaiser then is allowed to roam free. He will play the Leonas, the Alistars, the Nautiluses, so he can move then mid to help Humanoid. And of course, like you have on the other hand, like passive bot lanes that can hold their own, but it might leave Kaiser a leeway into the mid lane. I feel like for G2, if they wanna match up well against Mad Lions, their main point of focus must be the top lane. It must be exploiting the fact that Wunder still is a better laner than Armut is. The fact that your 2v2 top jungle top probably will be better than Ryoya Armut just because of Armut's deficiencies in the early game. And try not to lead or try to reach those teamfight stages, those skirmish stages, in a position where you have accrued enough of a lead to make it less to make this Mad Lions teamfight potential less threatening to you. Like we see this. Another stat is interesting. Mad Lions, when they're ahead at 15 minutes, they win 90% of the games.
Yeah.
It's insane. If they have an advantage, they will not let go.
And what's their statistics if they're behind? Can you bring that up?
Well, it's if they're ahead, they win 88.9% of the games. They're behind, they lose. They lose the rest of the games they lose. So
that's a real.
yeah. So in only like 11% of the case, which I think is like one games out of 11 that were ahead at 15 minutes, something like that, must be they won.
No. I meant how many games they've won when they were behind in gold.
Oh, that I can't really get at the moment. It's on Games of Legend Premium. I don't have Premium. Sorry.
Okay, guys, subscribe so that one day we'll get sponsored.
God damn it.
And then Bash can afford premium.
Bash
Alright?
can
Sad.
get this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon maybe we'll be sponsored by NordVPN. Okay.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Bash,
to be honest,
wait, guys,
right?
you're forgetting one
Okay.
thing. You're forgetting one thing about G2.
Mhm.
There's also they have this alternate strategy called Caps Go Kill.
Yeah.
And I,
Which is
yeah, I get.
It's
think
gonna
it
work
will.
against,
I guess
it's gonna
humanoid.
work against probably the best performing mid laner in EU.
Listen, it's
That could
Caps.
work.
It's
Yeah, but
Caps.
Caps also dove on Lissandra and then got power shotted to death like last week.
I'm
no?
not saying it's likely. I'm just saying it's possible.
To be fair, in that case, he messed up the W flash.
Yeah,
His W went off before he flashed. Otherwise, it's a solo kill. It's strategy. One other thing that I think is interesting to see is that, which can be a good win con for G2 if they manage not to fall too far behind and to do something with the bot lane. They have good dragon control. So, except when they decide, to back in front of an elder that just spawned. Yes, we brought that up. So, but yeah, Dash, how do you see this matchup going? I think, in general, I think it might be. I still have some G2 Hopium, so
Yeah.
I will say a 3-2 G2, but it's gonna be fought to hell and back.
I actually
That-
have a 1-3 for G2, and mostly because my mate was just saying that Matt is gonna shit the bed, but that's not my words, that's someone else's. But I think G2 can, like, if one of their players is on form, can just absorb the early game and then try play around that, and they don't really need to team fight at that point or give Matt what they want, so I think they can still take it.
Slayer?
I will go 3-2 Mad
Okay.
because of one simple reason. I think even if G2 has a lead, if it's not insurmountable, and even if it is, Mad is the kind of team that will never see goal lead and think we're behind, we can't do anything. Oh, they'll fight for it. Oh,
Mhm.
they'll scrap for it. They've won games like that. I don't think a goal deficit matters to them. So it's like you'll be dragged down. So that whole series will be dragged down to who can team fight better, and who's better than Mad at the moment. I don't see anyone in LEC at least.
Fair?
3-1 Matt.
3-1 Mad. Oh,
Yeah.
ho, ho. Yo.
He's got more opium than I do. He's
Yeah.
got more opium than I do.
Holy moly, man! Like, your Sharka shirt is
Take her-
infecting you, man.
Yeah. Go on, Miles.
But give us
Go
a
on, Miles.
reasoning, or is it pure hopium?
Not really pure Hopian. I think Matt will turn it up in playoffs because they've done it before,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and two, I don't know, just the G2 roster.
I mean,
just
it
doesn't
is.
fire
I
right
mean,
now.
Miles does bring up a good point. It's a matter of question where if Matt is peaking at the right time,
Mhm.
where Matt is
Yeah,
starting to peak at the right
that's-
time.
That's something also
It's
Matt talked about before.
because last split, remember, no one was thinking Matt would go to MSI. It was like Rogue, or G2's gonna turn it up in playoffs, right? Or
Mhm.
Fnatic might do something. Matt came out of bloody nowhere. Like, except for
Talking
that
about
finals, which was crappy, except for the finals, which is questionable to many players. Before that, they beat G2 handily. They beat Rogue the first time handily. They're like they were stomping to the finals. They were like, we're gonna make a case for ourselves. And even then, even though Game 5 was crappy in Spring Finals, Game 3 and 4 were complete control of Matt. Even Game 2, Matt should have won, but the missing shockwaves at the end of by Humanoid lost them. So
Yeah.
it's like Matt turns it on. Matt has shown that they can turn it on
Under pressure.
in the last 2 years, except
Yeah.
for one split, which was summer 2020.
Yeah, when they had Shadow, which
they turned
instead
it on.
did not turn on under pressure. If
Yeah,
anything,
because-
Yeah, but
Shadow.
now they have Elyoya.
Shadow.
They have Elyoya
Yeah.
now.
They have a different identity now. The
Yeah.
identity is different. They can play through Armut. They couldn't play through Oromoi before. They can play through Armut. They can
Mhm.
play through Humanoid. They can play through the bot lane. They've done that too. Like,
Yeah.
Elyoya has freedom on where he wants to go.
Yeah.
And like and oh, another point I want to bring up, and I want everyone's opinion on this. I think Elyoya and Yankos are actually similar types of junglers.
I can see it.
They're very lane focused. They're very
I
lane
can see
focused.
it. I can see it.
They're like,
Yep.
they
Yeah.
see the lane. They're like, okay, we can exploit that. They go there. They're kind of very similar. And Elyoya is not a bad pather as well. He can path really well. He
No, for
understands
sure.
how he
I mean-
understands how to jungle. Like, he's very good, and he keeps toe to toe with Inspired. It's
Yeah.
amazing, right? We say Inspired is the best pather in LEC, and Elyoya keeps up pace somehow.
And you say that, I still remember that time I saw Inspired lose priority and get double
Oh.
scuttled by a Gragas. But
Oh.
it was like
That-
I still
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
And that poisons my view of Inspired a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah,
Even though
yeah,
I
yeah.
know he's like
I
one
mean,
of the best.
this is a good transition. This is a good transition, Wes. This is a good transition.
Yeah. Good transition for this from the second best to the best jungler in EU in Inspired. I take it. But yeah, Inspired. Inspired's kind of good. Who would have thought?
A
Inspired is
bit,
kind of
just a
good.
bit.
Oh,
It's kinda good, yeah.
Rogue is a good team. Rogue is a good team when they don't choke to hell and back. This
I
is
don't think it's a matter of choke though. I don't think it's choke though. It's not choke.
It's
like
stopwatch. It's like after 25 minutes, there's no more rogue.
exactly. It's like a stopwatch. I've said this before. Like I've said this since last year about Rogue. Rogue has this plan in this notebook, and this plan is followed until someone disrupts it. Once someone disrupts it, everything goes to hell.
yeah.
Everything goes to hell. Everything's out of the window. And so they have this. So they have this 20-minute plan. They always have this 20-minute plan. They're going to take prio laners. Inspired's going to path, and Inspired's going to start taking the objectives one by one, and then they're all going to rotate in a position that they can't specifically take the first herald. The first herald is always their main priority. And it's like they do this. They have the 20-minute plan. They get a lead, and then they say, "Now what?" And all of a sudden, there's a team like Mad. They're behind. Their towers are gone. They're like, I don't know when. And Rogue is like in control, or so people think. And Mad somehow puts wards, and they're like, okay, we know at 30 minutes we're gonna fight here. And then Mad wins a fight, and Mad wins.
I know about you guys.
Or Misfit wins a fight, and Misfit wins.
I can't wait to see Rogue versus LCK. It's good. We're gonna get their bash.
Look, Miles. I want the game. I want games to end.
I'm gonna force you to watch that.
I want games to end eventually. Okay. There's already been a 70-minute game in LCK. I don't want to see any more of those.
So nuts.
We're gonna break 80 minutes. Don't worry.
That still happens in this meta. It's so nuts. It's so insane.
Yeah, no.
We have Ziggs now, Bash. We have Ziggs.
God. It's permabanned. It's permabanned. Thank God.
To be honest, I think everyone will agree on this. Rogue is like the most LCK-ish team
in the EU.
I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
If Mad is LPL, Rogue is
Oh,
LCK.
Mad is LPL as hell. Mad is LPL as hell.
I don't know. I've seen LPL teams with more brain. I've
No.
definitely seen LPL teams with more
No,
brain.
No, we're talking about the LPL stereotype, Bash. We're talking
Okay,
about
yeah.
the stereotype.
We're talking about the LPL prototype. Like Mad is completely LPL. Mad will fight.
Yeah.
Like Mad will fight everywhere.
And then Rogue won instead, and
Rogue won.
We'll cherry pick the right fight where Odoamne has the cannon ult, which to be fair, like it's baffling to me that they're bringing out picks like the cannon and the fiddlestick and making it work as well as they do. But
I honestly think in this meta, the system is being exploited right now. The team as a system is being exploited, because if anyone's followed a bit of the LCK, the two top teams in the LCK are teams that don't have a system.
I don't follow Battle League, sorry.
Exactly.
Anyway,
it's Longshim.
Nongshim and Live Sandbox. They're the two teams that don't have a set play style. They're not the team.
Nongshim just lost to Afrika, so I have no hope for them. Anyway,
I mean, Jam's already happy dancing this bet, probably.
Oh God, yes. Dutch. So this mystical LCK team that got stranded somehow, they forgot to come back home after a Worlds in Europe. So what's your view of Rogue as a team as a whole?
Well, Rogue's actually good, so I guess they don't really come from the LCK. But
we like this. I like this.
Hell yeah, let's go.
I think I don't know, man. Rogue are like dirty inters, but I love their play in the early game. It's so good. But then after a certain point, I'm like, get this out of my screen. It's nuts. And I genuinely think that come playoffs, that if you do that for one game, surely there's going to be a coaching staff behind you. There's going to be Odo Wamne, who's been in this ride like 20 years already, and they're going to say, let's maybe win after we're ahead of 25 minutes.
Yes,
like
please.
Somebody has to know this, right?
I mean, they've been talking about it for the entire split, that they have this problem, and Freddy's like, we're trying to adjust it, but there is no adjustment. It's like here's like this: Rogue's playstyle, Rogue's game plan. Every other team has that plan in a book, right?
Yeah. But it's so much easier to do that against the same team, like back to back, because you know how the team is gonna respond to it, and it's so much harder to do it in the best of one.
Yeah,
Like,
because of the
like,
prep. Like you walk
Yeah.
into a best of 5 where you have all the prep, and you know, okay, Rogue is gonna do this, this, this. We have the entire prep against this, this, this.
I mean, you guys realize this that every single best of 5 Rogue has played, Rogue has been exploited in this circumstance, especially by Matt. Matt has come out and like, okay, Matt knows what they're gonna do, and Matt has somehow exploited it. Matt knows what inspired his pathing towards. Matt knows what they're doing.
Well,
Like,
that's specifically throughout the stages of a game, right? Because last best of 5, it took them 2 games to realize what is Rogue doing. And what I'm saying is like Rogue should be doing the opposite around, right? If they are exploded in the best of 5, then they should realize what they should be doing.
They should be doing it later.
Yeah,
But-
they basically should lose early and then bring it back later. That's exactly it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you see, as I said, like Matt should have won game 2 of that series. Like game 2 was theirs to win. They didn't. Matt joked it, and then Matt won game 3, which Rogue should have, which Rogue had somewhat control of. Like pretty much, Rogue had control of every single game except for game 2, and yet Matt somehow won 3 of them.
Oh no!
Like-
well, there's no somehow.
We all know.
And somehow though I'm had a mental collapse and just forgot how to play their
No, that
champions.
was his game 5. That was his game 5. I'm talking game 3 and 4.
Oh
where
no!
Rogue
Trust me,
controlled it.
Ansama and Odamne had real mental collapses in that game. It was insane to watch. Ansama couldn't position to save his life. It was horrible to watch.
I mean, game 4
The micro was
basically,
obscene.
I mean, game 4 was basically Wukong. Was basically one Wukong.
Oh shit! I just remembered. Oh no.
The
It
monkey.
was one Wukong.
Monkey
It was
speed.
one Wukong.
But let's focus on the present now. So, what instead makes this team good? What made them win all this game? Is it the consistency?
Yes.
I feel like it's just the consistency.
Yes.
Every lane is consistent. Every play is consistent.
I think that works to their favor, and I think Dutch can agree with me on this. Is the best of 1 format. If this is the best of 3, Rogue gets killed in 1 game or 2. Rogue starts getting killed because everyone will know what Rogue is doing. You see that once, and you're like, oh, they did that, and then you play them like 6 weeks later. It's like you almost forgot about it at that point. When you play a best of 3, you prep for them more. You're prepping, and you're like, you know what they're doing, and it will bite. It would have bitten them in the behind because if they did that. Dutch, go on.
No, I think Miles wanted to add something
yeah,
maybe.
Miles,
Did I say something?
you did say something, but I guess you got
I can't
distracted
forget.
by
I
the
was
board.
listening to Slayer. I was forgot. I was
Ah,
like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
Tom Slayer.
Well-
yeah. alright.
Well, going from consistent and good to a team that personally think is inconsistent and severely overrated by the European community. Misfits. Hello, Misfits. How I struggle to watch you win some games
they're a
that
good
the
team.
other team
I
should
think
be
they're a good
winning.
team. I think
Okay,
they're a good
Slayer-
team. They're not a
We're
great
gonna see the
Yeah,
Matt
but-
versus Slayer
look-
debate here.
Okay, look.
I hope you're
Against
ready.
himself.
Okay, so I'll say this like in Misfits, like as a plus, I will say about them. They have a promising mid laner. VTO has grown certainly over the last 2 splits. I think they have probably, when you give him resources, I think Herit is the best top laner to go to if you want someone you can put resources in and then he can carry. Like
Yeah.
in this style of top lane gameplay, he is probably the best. Razork is extremely solid, and he has been putting off a really good individual performance despite playing pretty much only
Miles.
Miles.
Oh.
Oh,
Miles?
Miles disconnected. Well, we carry on. Slayer, you're
Carry
the
on,
Miles. I
Miles.
am the new Slayer. Dutch stay in the same corner. It's fine. We're gonna
Alright.
wait for him to come back.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Wait.
Hey, he's back.
Hey, it
That's
fixed
better.
itself.
No, but, like, I was saying, Razork has been putting on like good individual performances despite playing champions that are more like less of the carry champions, less of the Dianas, and more of
Yeah.
the lane impacting champions. The Lee Sin has been played, the Lee Sin, the Volibear, the Xin Zhao. So really props to him. And then they have a stable bot lane that will rarely pop off, will rarely be the the point of contention, but they play decently aggressive, stable enough. I think they are a solid team, but I feel like the initial win streak, like every goddamn split for Misfits, made people think, "Oh wow, this is the year of Misfits. This time is this time they win the split," and then they just petered off slowly
No,
and descended
they've
to
been,
mediocrity.
but I think they came back to the mean at the second half, the mean, and they won some games that they needed to. It's
They-
like
Yeah, I mean they also
it's
won some games that they shouldn't have, but like the Misfits and the G2 wins, in which the
But that
team
was
just
in the first half. That was in the first half. That was in the first half, not
Okay,
the
fair.
second half. I'm talking about the second half. Like the second half, they resorted to the mean where they've lost against Mad Rogue. I think they lost against Rogue, right?
Yeah.
The second time around.
Yep.
Yeah, and they lost against, but they somehow win against Fnatic. Would have thought.
Emphasis on somehow. That game was rough to watch, man.
Yeah.
Yep. But
But
yeah,
I don't think I don't think they're a bad team. You know what I mean? It's
I
like
know.
They're in playoffs, so obviously they're
no,
a good team.
they're not a bad team, but like if you watch their records against teams, you're like, okay, every team they are like every team above them in the standings, they either went like they lost both games to Mad Lions, they lost both games to Rogue, which one of which was, let's face it, in the first half, the first game against Rogue was won. Misfits had
Yeah.
won that game. The only way
Yeah.
they lose that game is if they somehow decide not to check vision on a fiddlesticks for 12 seconds, which is what they
They
did.
did.
And they grooved with a Gwen that had 9 kills. It could have been mid-split pushing. No.
Yeah.
And Alistar could have been watching the flank. No. They were 5-men bot lane and got 5-men ulted by a fatal and lost the game. And this to me is like the summary of Misfits. Misfits are a solid team. They're a good team. They are not better than the teams ahead of them.
No,
What do
they're
you
not.
think, Dutch?
Yeah, I think they're not better than Fnatic either. I think Fnatic choked against them twice, honestly. I feel like they should have won both of those games. And from the upper bracket, for sure, Misfits is the weakest team. I don't see them winning, spoiler alert for the predictions. And then loser bracket's going to be a little bit more interesting considering how inconsistent Fnatic has been against Misfits. But yeah, it's rough, man. I feel like they've been overperforming, and I don't think that's a mean thing to say. I think like there's a lot of teams that could have been a little bit more. It's not even that they're inconsistent. I don't know what the deal is with. That's the hard part, right? I can't really put my finger on what this team makes this team either. I know
Just
VTO is
like on
good.
it.
I know Razork has been performing, but like that's most of it.
Yeah, I can shed some light on it. I think the problem is before the split they changed their coaching staff.
Okay.
They changed the entirety of it. So they're like, we're gonna do something new, and they started winning, and they're like, oh, this is working, and then they regress to the mean, and they're like, okay, we're still a playoff team, we're good, like they're still a playoff team, and so you come to the situation where you're like, Misfits is a decent team, right? And their coaching staff has done a good job. Their players are playing well, but they're not at the level that the other teams are
Yeah.
who've been playing like this for about at least a year.
Yeah.
So comparing them to Misfits is, I think, the injustice that people do at times. Because Misfits, as good as they are, I think they can be a solid fourth best team in the region. Fourth, fifth, where you place Fnatic, but Misfits can beat Fnatic. I firmly believe Misfits can beat Fnatic. It's like
Yeah, they can.
it's like Misfits on their own right, they can. Even I think on a good day, Misfits can beat Rogue, or even G2 on a bad day, or Mad on a bad day.
No, I don't think
No,
they
no.
can beat Rogue. I don't know.
I think they can because of Rogue's deficiencies as opposed to Misfits being good. You know what I mean? It's like Rogue being bad, Rogue being what they are, but Misfits elevating their play once again. That there is that possibility. I don't expect them to win the series, but it's like that can happen.
What's the take on this
For
team,
a game.
Miles? Like, what do you think?
Misfits need that. Misfits need that secret sauce, man.
Okay.
We need some. We need Michael Jordan secret stuff or something to make it. I don't know. I just said they're just a solid team, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
almost
what more can we expect from them?
yeah. It's almost disappointing talking about Slayer camera. He's now
Nice.
you're now like you're now stripes only Slayer.
What?
Turn your
My
camera on
camera's
and off.
fine here.
But
I think
yeah.
Discord is just.
It gets worse and worse
being-
every second.
Oh goodness.
Just like
Wait.
Rogue.
Oh god. Wait. I have to.
There you go.
Any
We're
better?
good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super
You
good.
good? Let me.
What was that?
Weird.
I don't know. You're back. Okay.
Discord needs to fix itself.
Yes.
It's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. But but anyway,
Hey, they got
Yeah.
some money.
Okay.
what were you gonna do
So
about
no,
Misfits? Because, yeah.
the thing about Misfits is, it's even hard to just say, like, as I said, they're such a solid cookie cutter team that it's really too hard to say they have this clear, like, strong point, this clear weak point, because it feels like they're middling. They're like I think they're like
They
the
are
stand.
LNG.
Yeah, they're kind of LNG in the sense that they are they're
No.
the standard for a playoff team.
Listen,
Like,
Yeah.
listen,
you have to
listen,
be
listen.
this good to ride the playoffs ride.
I don't agree with LNG. It's RA.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine.
Okay,
All right,
fair,
right. I like
fair,
that.
fair.
LNG is not that. Listen, I think LNG
Yeah.
are frauds.
Yeah.
We leave off until tomorrow. We
Yeah.
leave off until tomorrow, but LNG are frauds.
Yeah. So
I
Dutch.
actually do want to add one
Yeah.
more thing about Misfits, right?
Yeah,
and I
sure.
think that in a best of 5 series, their top side is exploitable. I think one thing that we haven't really seen is Herod being targeted. And I think if he is targeted, like you were saying before, like he gets resources, he can carry. I think if he doesn't have the resources, he will struggle a lot.
Yeah. Considering his champion pool, yes. Like, he
Yeah.
has the Viego, the Renekton, the Jace, the Gwen, they're all champions that need
Seen
that
him on a
this
tank.
early.
Have you seen him on a low resource
Renekton?
champion?
Renekton?
Once on Mundo and once on Set. That's all he's played in terms of tanks.
I mean the thing. This is
That
this
set
one
tank is
thing-
debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Set is used as a like a weak side champion that can
Yeah.
absorb ganks. In that,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
works
that's-
against the top 4 teams, right? Because all of the other 3 top laners of the top 4 teams can play tanks.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the rest of them. Wonder can do it.
True.
Armored can do it.
Although Amne especially can do it.
Odoamne is like Odoamne is the weak side king. I mean, he's one of the weak side kings. I say one
He's
of them
the
because
Zoom of EU. There.
No,
He is. He
I'm,
is.
I'm saying is one of the weak side kings is because Impact is making a case for himself right now.
Yeah. It's
I
it's
don't-
him and Impact are like the old school weak side.
Weak side kings.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
jeez.
They're
And
the shields, yeah.
despite the
Shields
fact that
option.
Odoamne like has played very aggressive like he has played very aggressive champions this place. He has played the cannon is his most played. Then it's the Nocturne and
No,
they have to Camille and
Kennen
Gwen.
is his
So
best champion. Kennen is his best champion. He's
yeah,
been known
because-
for Kennen for his entirety of his life.
I mean, it's the same reasoning we had on the last episode about Impact, right? Like, his knowledge of the game, of the movements around the map, rotations, flank spots, TP usage for Odoamne is insane. Like, his experience alone makes it so champions he can play, like all 3 of these champions, like the Cannon, the Nocturne, the Camille, they are really, really good at these flank positions. So that makes him really good in this situation. So going into the matchup, as we said, like, so we have Rogue, which is playbook, question mark, question mark, question mark, win, lose, probably win, maybe lose, and Misfits, which are these you are good enough to ride the playoffs.
Yeah.
I still have a Rogue 3-1. Rogue 3-1. I think Rogue is a solid enough team with good enough players to just look at Misfits and go, yeah, no, you're not, you don't have that something, that level of excellence that a Mad Lions can have, that a Fnatic can have, that a G2 can have to be more. So yeah, 3-1 Rogue. Dutch?
Yeah, I agree. With the same reasons, I think Rogue should be doing fine against Misfits. I think they won 2-0 against them as well in the yeah, they did.
Yep.
So yeah, I think they should do fine against Misfits. I think it's a good matchup for Rogue as well because I don't think Misfits is the kind of team that really. Oh, I say that after that Fnatic game, but to like stabilize a game that's going wrong.
Yeah. So before I say like I'm gonna go with 3-1 as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rogue wins. I wouldn't be surprised if Rogue loses another game. I won't be surprised
Yeah.
if Rogue loses. It goes 3-2. I
Okay.
won't be
Ah,
surprised
damn.
because
I thought you were gonna say Misfits 3-1 Slayer. I was
Yeah.
like,
no,
oh,
no,
whoa.
I can't. I can't. That
Good.
can't be it. That can't be it. So the reason I say they can lose another game is because I feel like Rogue, even with the playbook, they have another tendency that they always do this, and teams often without a series don't address this, is Rogue's obsession with priority. If you knock Rogue off priority, that that can hamper Rogue quite a bit. So it's like in a best of 5, if you have a good idea of how to tackle their priority, all of a sudden the series can be flipped on, can be quite flippy. But I'm not saying Misfits will win. Misfits can. I doubt Misfits can win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Misfits win 2 games. Like, just push them to 5.
It's basically shutting down Inspired, right? Is what you're saying.
But
Yeah, it's because if you don't have priority, Inspired is like,
Yep.
where am I going?
yeah, but then again, that's where the strength in like drafting for Rogue comes in. Like you have Larsen on the on champions that always have push early. He plays
I mean,
Lucian. He plays the Lucian, the Jace, the Orianna. They always have
yeah,
push early.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Ansama plays laners that can bully the lane and go ahead. The
Yeah.
Kalista, the Varus, he's busted out the Draven. He can always bust out the Draven. Like if you pick a Kalista, he's gonna pick out the Draven and he's gonna smash your face in. So you have 2 laners that are entirely dedicated to that lane dominance, and you have Odoamne, which can either stabilize the lane or win it outright with a champion like the cannon. Because if you're gonna try and match it with a melee champion, he's just gonna auto the opponent for free and just win the lane. Miles,
Yeah.
your prediction?
3-0 Rogue.
Whew.
I like it.
Ooh.
Miles is a decisive man, and
It's not just that. It's just that I feel like one Misfit is not creative enough to be able to deal with what Rogue can do. Like let's say a Madline or even a G2 on the best days when they can. It just doesn't feel to me like they have the creativity, they have the you know the way to exploit around what Rogue can do because Rogue still has very solid fundamentals. And unless you do something crazy like what Mad Lions is capable of, it's not really gonna work out. If you fight them, if you're a good solid team and you try to fight Rogue, they will out fundamental you. And Misfits playstyle kinda feels like inferior Rogue.
yeah.
And when it comes to a match of playstyles that are similar, the better one will win out almost like it'll be a smash.
Yeah.
So 3-0 for me.
Oh god, it's LCK, but in Europe. It's LCK, but in Europe, no. Oh,
I mean,
God.
at least we get them out of the way the first
Yeah.
round.
That's true.
so-
That's
Which,
true. We get the exciting stuff later.
yeah. Which, by the way,
Unless Misfit
means
goes Pug.
I don't know. I don't think so. But
Yeah.
I guess this means that all of us have Rogue going to Worlds because
Yeah.
we all think Rogue is gonna win this matchup and just go to Worlds. Instead of like because we could spend endless hour then discussing, okay, Fnatic wins, then they have to win against X, Y, and Z to reach the semifinals, etc., etc. I think talking about losers bracket from before
That's definitely
the
the path
playoffs.
Fnatic wants. I'm telling you right now. That's the path Fnatic wants to work.
Yeah, oh, of course, they want that, and they're probably gonna get it. But what I meant is like discussing the matches is pretty hard. So
Yeah.
instead of going into hypotheticals into that, I think we can close the episode on a discussion on okay, Rogue locked in the world spot. We think Mad. Some of us think G2. Some of us think Mad locks in the world spot like in their first matches. All right, guys. So besides Rogue, who goes to World? Who makes the play the
I'll go first.
mythic run? Yeah, go Slayer. Go.
I'll go first. I think it's going to be a mad G2 finals yet again. They're going to have a rematch in the finals, and it's going to be choppy. I don't know who goes first. Like that could be anyone.
Mhm.
But I think the 3 teams are Mad, G2, and Rogue. Not in that order, but Mad, G2, and Rogue.
All right.
It's going to be these 3. I don't expect Fnatic to run the gauntlet. Fnatic, I don't think they'll have it in them to run the entire gauntlet.
Okay. You mean if they meet like a Mad or G2, they lose there?
I think even Misfits can give them trouble, and Mad will certainly give them a lot of trouble.
Okay. Miles?
Calca. No, I'm just kidding.
Speak.
Wrong date. It's not last year. Anyway, all right. So yeah, I think it's Rogue G2 Mad.
Okay.
I want Fnatic to get there because I believe in their potential and their ceiling as a team more
Okay.
than probably any other team in the LEC in the playoffs right now. But they need time to stew in the pot, man. It's not working out this split.
Yeah,
I think.
it's not.
All right. Go mine, then we'll leave Dutches for last. So
it's difficult, man.
yeah, it's difficult. I think again it's gonna be Rogue and G2 because I think they're the two teams that go through the semifinals. I'm gonna, well, fuck it, I'm saying it. Fnatic to World.
Oh my
Whoa!
god!
I think Fnatic as like Mad as a really high ceiling, but I think Fnatic has the explosive potential to take anyone by surprise. You can never, like just like you can never count Mad off in a game when they're behind because they have their team fighting. You can never count Fnatic off in general because
In a tournament, I mean, yeah, fine.
in a
Historically,
in a
it's just
best
been
of
like
five
that.
environment, I think if they clean up some details, and I think Yamato is working really hard to just bring some tool that works on Weepo, Adam, and Helisite to rein them in place. But if you can rein that just a bit, I think they are the most dangerous team in the playoffs for anyone, really. And I actually really hope that G2 beats Mad Lions because I want to see them scrap out for the last semifinal spot. It would be really fun to see Mad Lions.
So Fnatic, the dark horse, basically.
Yeah, Rogue,
of the
G2,
year right
Fnatic,
now.
and Dutch.
Well, I'm gonna start with Rogue and Fnatic because that is a given.
Rogue and Fnatic.
Yeah, of course, man.
Oh man.
I agree with you like completely. I think in a best of 5, I hope that they order out their kings. I genuinely think it's hard between Mad and G2 because I feel like it's basically who's on 4 more. And I think at that point G2 will just take him because it's G2. So for me, it's Rogue,
Whoa.
Fnatic,
Yeah,
G2.
boy, we don't trust in Mad. No, it's not that we don't trust in Mad Lions, but
I've been indoctrinated
Wow.
by their biggest fan.
oh no.
I mean, we'll know about Mad when we see the first series.
yeah,
Because
I agree with that.
if Matt shows the hell up in the first series, everyone's prediction will flip on their heads. They're like, oh boy.
Well, for me, it's
Like-
just Rogue, Mad, Fnatic at that point, so it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah, I think we have the same idea, which is basically whoever goes to the lower bracket, Fnatic just makes it out.
Yeah. I hope.
But
I
me
think.
and Miles are in agreement. Me and Miles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Slayer.
You have
But I do
Rogue, Mad,
believe in
and
the
G2.
Fnatic. I believe in the Fnatic ceiling, so I have hope for them. But
No, I agree that Fnatic has a higher ceiling, but I don't expect them to like iron out their kinks. I don't see it.
A man
like-
can have hope.
like this is a bit of a stretch to think that they'll iron out all their kinks
Mhm.
to be able to beat, let's say, a Mad who shows up, or a G2 who shows up.
Well,
or-
one thing I do want to add to that actually, Fnatic is the only team that went 2-0 against G2 in the regular season. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yes. So I think Fnatic's best chance to win against anyone is actually G2.
Yeah.
Because I think Matt just outthinks them in terms of craziness. Because
Mhm.
Matt's crazy themselves. So if Fnatic is crazy, Matt is controlled. Like they have a control in them, but they're crazy. They think crazy too. They have these crazy ideas.
Yeah,
And-
Karzi jumping in with the Tristana W and dying.
And if we're talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Like G2 somehow can't win against Fnatic. Somehow they have this thing against Fnatic.
They played
Fnatic
Bane.
knows what's in their head.
They
It used
played
to be the
Bane.
other way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's because Reckless abandoned them and they're like, we're not gonna lose
Revenge.
against these
Yeah.
mountain
Yeah.
teams,
The
guys.
the
We're not
Fnatic.
gonna lose."
Yeah, the reckless mental block, man, too huge. I really like Reckless as a laner and everything, but yeah, you should just move to Korea. Just be the next ruler, please. Just
Upset is his new Uzi.
yeah.
And yes, we have compared Upset to Uzi now.
Oh Lord!
It's
No!
oh my god.
E-Uzi.
Night upset
E-Uzi.
Uzi.
E-Uzi.
Uzi. I like it.
Oh god. All right, guys.
So,
I
that
think
won't get us flamed. That's not
Dutch, if you haven't seen, like, we got only like one message on our third episode, on the TS episode, and it was someone flaming us for criticizing Jackie Love and saying, "I'm not gonna watch any more of this content because you flame Jackie Love."
Perfect. That's what you want.
Well,
I'm like, dude, Jackie Love is playing bad.
yes.
Just go and look at it.
And tomorrow we'll go in depth with it with Munchable.
Oh, because
I
we'll
know.
have
Shit! I spoiled
Munchables.
who he is, but well, tomorrow we're gonna have Munchables on the show.
Guys, tomorrow's
Fuck it.
the Sooning Hopium.
Tomorrow is the Sooning Hopium. Tomorrow
yeah.
is the Sooning Hopium. And then on Thursday
You
is
just
the Sooning
teased
Hopium.
it, Bash. You should have been like, oh, we have a certain procaster here, you know.
Well, we already have 2 procasters here, so
Thanks,
one
man.
less, but
Appreciate that.
all right, guys. I would like to thank you all for coming on this episode. I would like to thank you, Dutch, for joining us to preview the playoffs. And if we're gonna do a Worlds episode, why not? Maybe just to talk about the LEC
We'll
teams.
bring you
And
back
we
in.
will bash, and we will bash.
Yeah, to see how our prediction went, probably
Nice,
extremely
nice,
poorly. Okay, thank you, everyone. Bye. See you
I
next
mean,
episode.
it's already flipped over our heads. I mean, Cena lost.
Yeah, true.
Well,
Like
that's
I
true.
said
We're already
they
running
would.
it.
Like I
We're running
said they would.
Cut it off. Cut him off. Cut him off.
Get it off! Get it off!